Welcome to The Q. This is our weekly show where we discuss all the most interesting topics from the week in music, and we get to find out what you guys, the viewers, had to say about them. Joining me this week is Dan Brown. He is, of course, the host of Trending 10.
Hi.
Every single day on the Fuse Network, weekday.
Weekdays.
You really can't get away from it.
Except for when the Brit Awards are on.
Then you can definitely get away.
That was yesterday.
And Esteban, sorry you were bumped for that. And Esteban Serrano, the host of Top 20 on Fuse. That's Tuesdays.
Yeah.
Check it out. All right, guys, this show is called The Q for a reason. What is the reason, you ask? Well, I'm here to tell you. It's because we have this rad sidebar over here with all of the topics. So if you don't listen to one of them, you can just skip ahead to whichever one you want, and we'll take you there. It's
Technology.
Science. It's basically sorcery.
Look what science has done.
So many.
We can
it's brought so many great
Q.
things.
We have the technology.
All right. We have a lot of topics, and I have the feeling you have a lot of weird things to say today.
I have a lot of weird things
so
to say today.
why don't we just jump right into
I'm in
it?
a very weird state of mind today.
Speaking of weird things,
yeah.
Bonnaroo 2014.
Oh my God, the weirdest place on earth.
It's coming up. It's happening.
Oh man.
The lineup was just announced. This year, the festival is June 12th through 15th. I know, you probably can't wait. I can't wait. The lineup was just announced. There's a ton of acts, as usual. There's so many bands that go to this every year that it blows my mind. But you guys can check out the whole story and the full list at Fuse.tv. But some of them include Kanye West, Jack White, your usual suspects, plus people like Elton John,
Yes.
Lionel Richie,
Yes, those are the
Vampire
best.
Weekend. Those are the best. But let me ask you about this. So you've got Lionel Richie, you've got Elton John. Lionel Richie, who, by the way, is on tour with CeeLo right now.
Right.
Who doesn't want to go to that?
Come on, that's an amazing show.
He's dancing on the ceiling.
Did he ever leave? No.
He was on the Trending 10 countdown today, not once, not twice, actually twice. I wanted it to be 3 times, so I could go once, twice, 3 times a trending joke. But it's weird. He's like back. Lionel.
Well, but here's the thing. What do you think? Okay, so Bonnaroo is sort of notorious for being a younger, maybe crazier crowd.
Yeah.
Do you think they're trying to attract a more diverse audience, or are they there for like nostalgia factor?
I don't know. I think it's nostalgia factor.
Okay.
More so than anything. I mean, last year they brought back R. Kelly. You know what I mean? And I honestly feel like some of the babies that Lionel Richie helped create probably want to see the man, who...
That's exactly what I was thinking. People whose parents put that on the car, like, son, listen to this. Like, that guy is going to go hear it now.
Right. And you will hear the song you were conceived to, more or less, if you go see them at Bonnaroo.
And then maybe you too shall conceive, my son, at Bonnaroo.
Yes, that
Be
will
safe,
work.
everyone. Yeah, also regarding Kanye West, he has not been at Bonnaroo since 2008 because his appearance there was sort of a debacle. I'm sure
He went
you
out
remember.
like 4:30 in the morning, and then like everyone was pissed that it took so long for him to come out.
Oh, he also had like a daytime slot.
Okay.
Despite having a show that was designed to glow in the dark.
Right. Seems like an oversight error there.
So that kind of thing does happen to large acts. Hopefully nothing of that will happen to Lionel.
Yeah.
And it better not happen to Kanye now.
Or Elton John. Now, if somebody got screwed for a time slot and it was Kanye or Elton John, who do you think would have a bigger diva fit?
Oh, Kanye West, are you crazy? Elton John would take it with class. He's been knighted. He's a sir. I think that Dignity is Elton John's middle name. How's it going, Elton John?
Good.
All right, well, let's move on to our next topic.
Please.
Speaking of divas, Nicki Minaj.
What?
Yes.
New LP. She said in a recent interview that her new album, The Pink Print, is going to get a surprise release. Let me tell you what I mean by that. She told Hot 97's Angie Martinez, "You never know when it's coming until it just comes."
That's what she said.
That's what she said. I wasn't gonna.
I was gonna let you guys do it because it needed to happen.
I didn't want to be that gross today,
but that is true of many things. Let's just say. She was quick to point out though that she was not trying to pull a Beyonce.
No one can pull a Beyonce except for Beyonce, though.
Right.
So that's kind of like saying...
The comparison is hard to avoid. I talked about it a little bit this week. We got some interesting comments from you guys, specifically this one from Champ Twinings MUC, who said, "I'm not a Nicki Minaj fan, but I think she's capable of releasing an album out of the blue and selling well because she has a dedicated following on Twitter. But she won't get close to the numbers Beyonce did, though."
Well, see, now I'm not so sure about that because is it really even out of the blue at this point? She's pre-announced.
There's been a story for the last 5 days about her. We got, today she was like, oh, it's going to be a classic. She had the whole Malcolm X cover art debacle.
Right.
She's talking about how she's going to release it as a surprise. It's like she wants to pull a Beyonce, but she's afraid to, and she can't stop chattering about her own album.
Well, listen, let's be very clear. There was another pop cultural almost iconic juggernaut who did a lot of press for her album and it still tanked, and that was Lady Gaga. And you would think that if anyone could pull a Beyonce, it would be Lady Gaga. And Lady Gaga couldn't pull a Beyonce with all of the time in the world to prep before her album came out, and all the promotion in life still didn't help her sell any records. And I feel like with Nicki, she's sold the same album repackaged 3 times already.
I know.
So I don't know if her fan base,
reloaded.
Come on, it's re-released, it was reloaded, it was re-upped, it was all types of read, and it did not sell.
Yeah.
So she can't pull a Beyonce because she needs all of the help she can get to get her people to actually buy this album.
Well, regardless if she can pull a Beyonce, I'll be impressed if she can release an album without it being leaked. I'll be impressed if any artist can release an album these days without it being leaked.
Especially not if they're chattering about how they've got a new album that can potentially be leaked. But do you think anyone can pull a Beyonce anymore? Can Beyonce be topped? We were, earlier before this, the writer and I were talking about how the last time somebody did something like this that was surprising was when Jay-Z retired and then unretired. I think at this point, the only thing an artist could do to surprise us would be to fake their own death or something. How can somebody top what Beyonce did?
It's probably happened before, yeah.
Who I saw in New Orleans this weekend, I saw Tupac at All-Star Weekend. I'm just saying.
Hashtag conspiracy, hashtag Illuminati.
We'll get to Illuminati later in topics too.
So do you think there's anything an artist can do to be topped?
Rihanna!
What?
Rihanna can absolutely pull a Beyonce.
I think
be very clear.
Only Beyonce
right
can
now.
pull a Beyonce.
The Navy will buy anything that Rihanna drops.
You think?
Yes.
But then again, anyone will
For a
buy
minute, I
anything
forgot
that
her fans were the
Beyonce
Navy,
drops.
And I thought you meant like the U.S. Navy. Like,
Well, them too.
the Navy is hungering for a
Back
remake.
me up on this. Please let people know. Rihanna, she could drop a greatest hits album of her, dropping deuces, and it would still hit the Billboard.
Well,
Also, shout out to Rihanna. Happy birthday.
yes, happy 26th
It
birthday,
is.
Rihanna.
26?
Maybe
fact.
drop some deuces, put it out there, see what happens.
just saying.
You guys, what do you think? Is there anything that somebody could do to top Beyonce? I'm open to suggestions. All right, let's move on to the next one. Shazam. You
That's
guys,
that movie with Shaquille O'Neal from
I
the
love
90s.
that movie.
close, yes, but I'm actually in this case talking about the app that I'm sure everybody knows
All right,
this,
close,
right?
though.
Very close.
It makes dreams come true.
It does. It's the app you use to identify. You're at a party, you're at a restaurant, you hear a song and you like it. Tap the app on your phone and it recognizes the song for you. It's been around for about 5 years, which in app time is kind of an eternity,
Yeah.
frankly.
Decade.
Yeah.
I don't remember 5 years ago, if I'm being honest. I have a hard time remembering last night.
You were
though,
10,
so-
so I mean, why would
But
you?
seriously, yeah, basically, seriously. Basically, people used to be getting music off of like MySpace and stuff. That's
Right.
not even that. That's like 6-7 years ago. So this is like an eternity in app time. But just this week, Warner Music announced that they are partnering with Shazam to use their data to determine which songs are becoming popular, and then to use that info to sign new artists with a special Shazam imprint.
You just dropped your microphone. Elaine.
I'm really excited about
I
it.
can grab that for you here.
I'm really excited.
You got it. Here.
So
I think that's
basically, what this means is that if an unknown artist, thank you so much, gets his or her song like on a local radio station, and people Shazam it, that's what Warner Music wants to see. They want to sign them to the label. Basically, it's designed to bring new musicians to public audiences. Check this out. The head of music said, our data has shown that we can typically predict 33 days in advance what's going to be at the top of the Billboard Hot 100.
That's interesting.
It's like money in their hands. It's like having a handful of cash.
I mean, I don't know that Shazam, I mean, in all seriousness, I know it's not a movie starring Shaquille O'Neal, but I don't know that it really fundamentally changes anything. I think it's just like an embodiment of trends that we've known are happening for a long time. There's more data available about
Right.
how we use technology, and that data gives more power to the corporate overlords who pull the strings.
Totally. Actually, the New York Times mentioned this, saying that, that the access to the data isn't what really is going to tell you anything. It's the knowledge of what to do with it.
Right.
But it seems like they're taking steps to try to single out artists that are becoming popular.
I mean, and I think that is the cool thing, right? I mean, it's used by the people who consume the music, who love the music, and, the nature of Shazam is you find something that you stumble upon, randomly, you like it, you identify with it, you want to know what it is. And I think it's a great way to gauge interest. Not even so much if it's going to be a hit record or not, but just what people like at first listen. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times things have to grow on you, or you're like, oh, I'll listen to this album and maybe 2 or 3 listens in, I get it. But like Shazam is, you're Shazamming a record that immediately like, what is this?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Which means that it's either different or new in some way,
Right.
or that you really identify with it, which means a couple of things. One, do you think that this will put a higher value on artists experimenting in music to try to create the sound that you'll hear and be like, this sounds like something unusual. For instance, Lord's Royals was a really popular Shazam
Right.
song
Sure.
because it doesn't sound like everything else.
Right.
Well, so I'm terrified that the opposite's true, actually. I'm terrified that this is going to lead to like, the corporate overlords I was mentioning earlier having the ability to more efficiently manufacture exactly what, I don't know, makes our,
What they
People are
think we
interested.
want
what
to
makes
hear.
our
Yeah.
brain squirt dopamine, right? And,
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it could democratize music more because before it was like whose label is super powerful and can buy up all this radio play. Now it's just like you hear a song at a party that your friend puts on, you Shazam it.
Sure, I agree with that, but I also think you're giving Shazam too much credit for that. I think the democratization of music is the result of just kind of larger technological trends beyond just Shazam. Speaking to my previous point.
This is true. With you have all these other apps that are calibrating what you like. Pandora, Spotify.
right.
Their job is to think of something that you like. All right. Well, we'll have to see. I'm really interested. I think this is one of the most interesting things that's happened
Oh, yeah.
in terms of music marketing and signing artists recently. So I'm gonna
Something
keep
to
an eye
watch.
on that.
Excited?
On a slightly different note, speaking of artists who are not super secret or indie, Katy Perry. Cleopatra,
man.
actually. Dark Horse video dropped
That's how it
this
goes.
week.
It goes like that.
That's basically exactly how it sounds. You guys can check out the video on Fuse.tv. It's all there if you haven't seen it yet. Let's talk about it. First of all, it's basically smacked me in the face with how it's like remember the time feel. Michael Jackson's.
Does
Remember the
anybody
time.
remember the time that Michael Jackson did this video and did it a lot better, by the way?
He did it
with
without Flamin' Hot
Eddie
Cheetos.
Murphy. Hello, Michael. I'm not Michael. Magic Johnson.
Magic Johnson.
Hello.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
come
Yeah,
on.
hold on, wait. I got to ask you a question here, Elaine. When,
Yes.
when you brought up the Flamin' Hot Cheetos, was that a positive for the video or a negative for the video in your mind? 'Cause I have a soft spot in my heart for Flamin' Hot Cheetos.
I actually, I hate to say this, but it's the truth. I really dislike anything with the fake orange powder on it,
Okay.
except for the Takis. You know the hot
Oh, yeah,
Takis?
yeah, hot Cheetos and Takis.
Listen,
Takis are
Cheetos
good, but-
amazing.
Mm-hmm. I used to eat hot
And the
Cheetos in
Cheeto
high
dust
school with
that
a
you're
fork.
referring to is more amazing.
It's a
And
hate
eating
crime.
Cheetos with a fork is genius because
Right,
the
you don't get it
Cheeto
on your
dust
fingers.
just gets everywhere.
No.
Exactly.
No,
Let's
these-
talk about Katy Perry some more, though.
Let's talk
kinda
about
gone
Katy
off
Perry.
rails here.
Brilliant.
But yeah,
Katy
you know,
Perry.
she does. She stuffs her face with. She doesn't. She delicately and sexily eats hot Cheetos in the
Right.
video. I was really surprised though because this song is sort of like a sexy trap jam and it has kind of a dark fluid element about it, and that made the song stand out from other pop that white pop princesses are making.
Right.
To be really blunt about
Very
it.
blunt, yes.
And so I was kind of hoping that the video would reflect the sort of like sexy, fluid, grown-up sound of it. And then it was our next door neighbor girl, Katy Perry, being cute and funny again by eating hot Cheetos.
Yeah, but I mean, the counterpoint would be that she successfully stayed on brand while still making a video that's distinct from the rest of her videos.
Did she stay on brand?
I
She
think
shills
she
for
did.
pop chips, but she ate Cheetos. What?
Whoa. Well, I mean, maybe her deal with
Hashtag Illuminati.
isn't exclusive.
Yes. This
Something.
video is very Illuminati, by the way.
Explain.
I mean, the Eye of Horus.
Anything
I
evil.
mean,
Oh,
the
yeah.
pyramids. I mean, I feel like this is her Illuminati initiation video. You know how, like, when you join the Illuminati as an artist, you have to make a music video that's symbolic of
I did
your
not know that, but
Illuminati.
now I do.
I actually have no idea.
You never.
Actually, though, that based on her Brit Awards performance, like that might be true because
Listen.
there were giant neon triangles in the background the whole time.
Whoa.
Look, I'm not making this stuff up, people, okay? Conspiracies are real. And if you look on YouTube, probably on the side of this video right now is some awesome Illuminati conspiracy videos you might want to
I think Esteban's hat must be made out of tin foil.
Look.
See what I did there? It's a little
This is-
pun.
I
Tinfoil
did.
hat, like
I
he's wearing a
did see what
hat.
you did.
I thought it was pretty witty, but
But this Katy Perry video, let's be real. Katy Perry has put out some really bad videos as of late. Roar was like her hanging out in a botanical garden.
I like that video.
It was like Flintstones meets. It was horrible.
I didn't like Unconditionally. I felt like Unconditionally she was
was
kind of throwing it
trash.
in. It was kind of like
I thought it
pretty
looked
to
like an
look at,
extended perfume ad. It was
but-
pretty.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But
The hate
this one
crime
is
there is
cool.
really.
Uh-huh.
It's fun. Juicy J is in it. He comes out of some crazy sarcophagus.
Yeah, he emerges
mummy
from a
thing.
sarcophagus. That's exactly right.
It's great. Anything that has Juicy J in it, for one, is going to get my point. But I'm kind of really on the fence about this video because, yes, it was done by Michael Jackson already. And
But
for
everything
some
has
reason,
been done once. I mean,
I don't know why white people always want to play Cleopatra and stuff. I don't
okay,
understand.
okay. I didn't want to bring
Whoa.
this up, but I'm really glad you did.
You know I'm going to bring it up.
The internet's mind. It hasn't happened yet. I haven't been on the internet since watching the video, but I know that the internet's mind is exploding
Black
right
Twitter
now.
is going to be pissed.
Seriously, people are
You
going to be
understand that Black
outraged.
Facebook is going to be outraged about
You
this?
are
White
so
folk
right.
always want to play Cleopatra.
Seriously,
Gosh. Moses was a black man. I'm just saying.
white people at home, are you dressed like Cleopatra right now? I need to know. Seriously, what's up? What's up?
I don't know. But it's a beautiful video. think
I
it's
feel
cool.
very uncomfortable right now. Can I just put that on the record? I don't know what to say. Esteban, I love you.
I love you
You're
too,
my brother
Dan.
from another mother.
All
I
right.
would never dress up as Cleopatra, at least not in your presence.
But she also was dressed up as Cleopatra at the. She gave us kind of a preview at the Brit Awards, which aired Wednesday night on Fuse, the Brit Awards. And if you didn't get a chance to see it, you don't need to panic about it because you can see clips, photos, etc. over at Fuse TV, and we're re-airing it on the cable channel on Sunday the 23rd at 8 p.m.
Nice.
So Fuse.tv or the channel
PVR.
on Sunday.
Awards.
Isn't it?
Aside from Katy's performance, lots of fancy schmancy performances. Beyonce performed, looking. What is it, you guys?
She's looking
Is Beyonce magic?
Is it possible to look better after you have a child? Like, how does that
Well,
work?
did she have a child?
Whoa, whoa,
Just
whoa,
kidding.
whoa. Too many conspiracy
I'm just
theories.
kidding.
she's
We guys,
getting
we are
one.
wearing our tinfoil hats
Hashtag
today.
Illuminati.
Hey, really?
We gotta
For sure.
slow down. But yeah, Beyonce looking amazing, looking magic.
She's bad.
You know who else though was making a style statement? Is
No, I don't.
once again Pharrell.
Oh, yeah.
For real.
Well, he brought
For
his
real.
hat on a pillow, right?
Yeah, the hat arrived separately from him,
Uh-huh.
and then he sported it during his performance.
And sales of those hats have gone like through the roof since he.
Is that
wore
true?
them. It's
Come on.
totally true.
I have yet to see one on the street.
Well, I mean,
No
yeah,
one can afford them on the street.
Although
There's
I
going to be a knockoff, like a Forever 21 bucket hat.
I saw
It
this
has
picture
to
of
be.
like Wall Street in the early 20th century, and all the dudes were wearing hats, and I'm like, I want to bring that back, and I'm proud of Pharrell for trying.
No, you
the
guys,
hats
there is
that they
nothing
were
worse than a
wearing
man
back
who
then is-
thinks he can wear a fancy old-timey
No, but-
hat.
but if
you know what I'm
everyone-
talking about, fedora dudes at
If
home.
everyone's wearing a fancy fedora hat, then like no one's going to be judged for it. It'll just kind of be accepted as
Dan
normal.
Yeah, man.
Brown, don't you do it.
Please, just let me have this. I mean, not yet. Only when other people start doing it. But Pharrell, he's a trailblazer, and I'm saying,
Oh, yeah, come
I
on.
give him props for that.
Fashion icon.
That hat.
Pharrell.
This is true. And let's talk about Pharrell. Let's move on to him a little bit.
I'm into
So he last but certainly not least on our topic list today because he has announced his second solo album will be called Girl. That's Girl.
We know how to spell girl.
but like
I know,
spelled
I
out
know.
with spaces between.
I'm joking.
Not
It
just
means
girl.
something.
So it's G.
It does mean something actually, which
What does
I
it
wanted to
mean?
talk
Do we
about.
know?
Well, he talks about it comes out March 3rd, which is the day after he performs Happy at the Oscars, nominated for an Oscar.
Oh.
But here's what he said about it. He said, "Women have been so good to me over this entire career, and they've done so much for my family." He also said, "Everything I've ever gotten is because they've paid for it. So they're like my bosses, indirectly and directly. You guys are my bosses," speaking to women. So for me, I wanted to analyze that for a second. And then he said my favorite one. This is my favorite thing about Girl, the upcoming album. Every human being
No.
has come through those silver line doors. I haven't taken a hand mirror down there in a long time. But like I haven't seen any but like precious metals? Like, okay, Pharrell, like maybe
Yeah,
there's
I'm
like
kind
a
of confused. What do you silver-lined doors? Every
I'll
human
tell
has
you
gone through
later.
them? No, okay, all right.
you guys can have a talk about that later.
excited
But
to
here's what I
talk
want to
Is
talk about.
Pharrell a gigolo?
Okay.
Is that what he's saying?
But wait,
to
but
us?
let's talk about Pharrell though.
I'm
He
just-
has
yeah.
a great image. People love him.
Uh-huh.
You know, moms love him, kids love him, everybody loves him. He had a big splash this past summer with Blurred Lines.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Do you think that he's trying with these comments to offset a little bit of the backlash that came up with Blurred Lines?
That's a good point.
Okay, so wait, rehash this for me. How exactly is he offsetting how it's like?
By naming his album
Misogynistic.
Girl and
Okay,
talking about how
okay,
women
right,
have meant
right,
so
right.
much. Although interestingly, he's like, women mean so much, women are so important, we need women is another thing he said. And then he calls it Girl, which like
Which is not
so
really
close.
woman. Right.
pretty far.
Right.
Pretty far.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
What do you think?
I like the Blurred Lines video. I think that Robin Thicke can take most of the flack for it if there is any.
It was his concept. He definitely stepped up to the plate and said, "This was me all the way."
Right. I think Pharrell was musically, and he was kind of like there in the background. You could tell he was kind of like above the whole thing. So
He did seem detached from it.
I like to give him the benefit of the doubt there. You know.
Yeah.
I don't. I think Pharrell is as big now as he has ever been, and perhaps ever will be.
Certainly.
Right, which is. Some people might disagree with that, but like if you think about it, like how old were you guys when you bought your first album, like ever? I was like 11.
Yeah, 12.
And so if you think about it, it's been 8 years since he released an album. Like people who are like the main album buying demographic, like high school, college kids, like they probably were too young to even pay any attention to music whatsoever. the last time Pharrell came out with an album. And now here he is producing like some of their favorite acts.
Well, he is
Daft
so
Punk.
prolific. He's
Right.
producing, he's composing, he's making, working on, collaborating with other people. But why did it take, maybe that's why, that it took so long to release a solo album?
I mean, this is my theory on Pharrell, and I love Pharrell. I think he's a genius. Pharrell, as a solo artist, even him in the band NERD, it never turns into success
I think
as
that's
a
gonna
solo
change.
artist.
That's going to change this time.
But was he trying to have success as a solo?
Oh yeah, I mean, the first album, Can I Have It Like That, huge single with Gwen Stefani. The front end record with him and Jay-Z. It's still it was great music. It was great collaborations and all of that jazz, but it didn't turn into sales. NERD, 3 albums deep, they never really cracked any noteworthy numbers. And nowadays, where music is not really being sold as much, another reason why Blurred Lines and the other record with Daft Punk were so huge is because they were integrated in a bunch of other things that weren't radio or television.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was in Beats commercials. It was in all types of commercials and television shows and parodies, and it was everywhere. So the music was bigger than just, releasing an album.
But
Pharrell doesn't sell records on his own.
Well, who's to say he can't this time, and who's to say he can't integrate it into all sorts of non-album platforms also?
See, yeah, that makes me really sad actually that you say that he's not had success because of album sales. I think that if
Right.
we're determining success by album sales, we're in a really troubling time because we're talking about Pharrell. This is a guy who for 8 years he has been collaborating. He's working with Hans Zimmer to compose the soundtrack to the next Superman movie. He's
Nice.
like his finger is in every pie, and I would say that
Absolutely.
he has worked steadily and he's no doubt successful. But when you look at it in terms of
Right.
product integration, commercials, and that kind of thing, if that's what success is.
I mean, we can take it back to Robin Thicke. Robin Thicke's first album, when he was just going by Thicke, was an amazing project. Then the album that followed that was also amazing, but it paled in comparison to the music he was creating and producing for other artists, similar to Pharrell. He's like, I'm winning Grammy Awards for songs that I've written for other people.
Exactly.
But my own music is not getting
not.
any type of love.
Which makes no sense because it means it must be all something else.
So, I mean, for them, of course, you want something that is only yours and yours alone, your brainchild, to be, viewed as success.
Well,
When you're making everybody else, rich and famous around you.
well, all the best music comes through the same silver lined doors. So that's all you can say about that.
Love you give, the more
That's
love
all
you
there is
get.
to that. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for sticking with us this week. Next week, also during the week, make sure you check out Esteban on Top 20. He's there. He's awesome. Dan on Trending 10 every day during the week.
Weeknights.
For more info on all the topics we discussed, you can just go to Fuse.tv. There's lots of stories there with all these facts and more. If you want to be part of the conversation, we would like that too, because we bore each other sometimes. So leave us comments on the YouTube page. Maybe we'll talk about it next week. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you guys next week.